We are back with another episode of the Black Box Podcast. I'm your host, Ahmed.
And I'm your host, John. And this episode was an interview with Jeremy Cordon. He is the founder of GoldBack, which is I guess you can call it a form of currency where the currency itself is made out of gold. Um, so it ties into the things that we talk about with the U.S. dollar the value and purchasing power of it is eaten away by inflation year over year. Everyone's kind of getting on the same page with that now as inflation has been at record highs. I feel like maybe that point was a little less known as inflation was doing its usual 2 to 3% per year, but basically this gold backed currency is established and accepted right now amongst, he said, upwards of 1,000 businesses in the Utah, Wyoming, and Arizona areas, states. But basically, they're right now he's kind of building up the currency, getting it accepted and used amongst local businesses, and then trying to get it adopted in other states. But it's also used as a form of bartering. He said he's given examples of how that's properly used, but also apart from all of that, it basically is just a smaller denomination of gold, and it keeps that store of value. So I think it's a really cool product. We went about the episode of trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate, in terms of asking why we should use it, what's the validity, what's the utility, and he did a really good job responding. So I think you'll enjoy the episode, and like good luck to Jeremy. Honestly, this is pretty cool, and I'd like to see where it goes.
Yeah, no, really, really exciting product. And I guess without further ado, let's hop right in.
Yes, sir.
Hey guys, just wanted to shout out Zencastr, our platform of choice for recording remotely with our guests. They're sponsoring this episode, so tune in later to hear more about some really great offers. Hey y'all, we're really excited to tell you about Blvck Ice, the Black-owned jewelry business owned by Sean Moore, our previous guest on the Black Box podcast. If you think about it, Blvck Ice and like Black Box, it's almost like it's meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah, but we like to focus on investing in the show, so we kind of look at it as we're partnering up with a asset class. Jewelry is considered an investment, and with the stock market and crypto being pretty volatile right now, and for the most part going down, jewelry, especially precious metals, gold and silver, those tend to preserve their value really well. So you know that's also another reason why we think it's a good opportunity. But also, I've worked with Sean in the past. I got a gift for my mother actually for Mother's Day. It was a relatively custom piece, nothing crazy, but Sean was quick, he was easy, he was responsive, the price was fair, and we just met up and transaction was easy, and my mom loved the gift. So
Yeah, if this all sounds good to you, check out Blvck Ice's website at Black Ice NYC, and at all socials. And there's a V instead of an A for the black. So as you guys are probably used to with little letter substitutions by us, but you could find stock goods there. And Sean also specializes in custom goods with quick turnaround times.
yeah, Sean does great custom pieces. I've seen a bunch of them on his social media. But yeah, he's also good for sourcing, like watches, specific Rolexes, anything like that you're looking for. He can also get you a better price than, if you're going to, a bigger name shop or someone that you don't really know that might try to gouge you on the price. So along with that, it's also supporting an upcoming entrepreneur. He's had a lot of success. He just celebrated his 1 year anniversary of the business, had a really nice party. And
Let's get back to the show.
All right. Hey, Jeremy. I guess let's get started by having you introduce yourself, and then we're gonna play a little game that we discussed right before we started recording.
Okay, great. So my name is Jeremy. I founded a company called GoldBack, and we make a currency out of physical 24 karat gold. It's the first kind of circulating gold currency that's been out and popular in a long, long time. So that's kind of my thing.
Cool. Okay. I guess just then first question. You probably get this a lot as a follow up from people. Is this like a cryptocurrency? Is this like what kind of current? I guess what category would you put this in?
So this isn't like a cryptocurrency. It is an alternative currency. This is a lot more like cash, right? So imagine a dollar bill if you took it and infused it with gold. That's kind of the idea. You're actually trading with 24 karat gold. And I guess the pro to that, as opposed to cryptocurrency, is there's no 30 digit wallet number you got to get perfect. There's no 20 digit password you have to change every 6 months or something like that. So it's once you hold it, you actually have it. For those with video, you can see me holding this thing here. It's
Oh
kind of
wow. Okay. So I guess what is that made out of? Just paper or?
so it's like a gold sandwich. It's between two layers of polymer, and that keeps the gold inside. So the gold's not rubbing off or whatever. It's a lot tougher than a dollar bill, and it comes in multiple denominations. So what I showed you is the one. This guy right here is the 50. It has 50 times the amount of gold in it. It has 50 times the value, right? And then there's all these kind of middle denominations too. This one's a 5.
That's sick.
And a Goldback's worth about $4 a piece. So this 50 I showed you was worth about $200. The one's worth closer to $4.
Okay. So I was gonna have another follow up to that, but it seems like you pretty much answered it. So the actual value, so it is backed by gold, but the value is actually sitting in the piece of the gold sandwich that you're currently holding in your hand, right? Like it's
Yeah,
not.
it's a commodity money.
Wow. Okay. I guess what if if someone were to reach out to you and let you know that they wanted to buy or obtain some of this, like how would they do that? Is this something that you would mail to them?
That's a good question. I mean, cryptocurrency, you just stick it in an online wallet, right? You go to Coinbase, you're done. What we did with the Goldback, because we knew we would get, a lot of the pushback you're going to get whenever you do something new is from people that are already in the space, right? The Goldback in a big way is more popular with people that are brand new to precious metals, young people that are looking for kind of like inflation-proof money solutions. We had to go through, what we did is we went through and we signed up a lot of the old school bullion retailers that sell gold and silver coins to distribute Goldbacks. And that got them really excited about Goldbacks. So if you go to goldback.com, there's a huge list of retailers that sell Goldbacks. I want to say there's between 50 and 100 different retailers now that sell Goldbacks, and you can buy them online and have them shipped to you. As Goldback itself is just a wholesaler. We just sell it to retailers who then sell it to people.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
most of our model.
Okay. And playing the role of devil's advocate, once someone has a Goldback, what can they do with it? So, draw with the parallel that we've basically drawn with crypto. One of the first questions that people have for a cryptocurrency is what is its utility? So,
Sure.
what kind of special utility do you get with a Goldback?
Okay. So unlike cryptocurrency, when you have a Goldback, you have a physical thing in your possession that's not connected to the internet in any sort of way, just like having a dollar bill. Personally, I stick them in my wallet and I carry them around, and they actually make extremely convenient gifts and tips. They're attention getters because they're really pretty. The value perception is a lot higher than $3 or $4. I was at a restaurant a few months ago, and I like attention, I guess. So I'm talking to the waitress, and I say, hey, I'm going to give you something really special for your tip. I'm going to give you something amazing. You're going to love it. And I pulled out the Goldback. I said, this is real 24 karat gold. And she turned to me and she said, you gave me one of those 2 years ago. I said, really? She says, yeah, it was you, and you gave me one 2 years ago. I said, well, what'd you do with it? And she says, I put it in my room, and, it's in this special spot. And, I showed, a bunch of people, and I think it's really cool. It's, this really cool thing that I got. said, okay. How many other tips can you remember from 2 years ago?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you leave a 5 and it's like they forgot about you before you left the building. I mean, like that's,
Yeah.
there's nothing special or novel about that. I think a big part of, especially for a tipping experience, having a novel experience or making an impression on somebody, um, you want to give them something new, and a Goldback is certainly a way to do that. The Goldback I gave her doubled in value over that 2-year time period. So it's not like she's not, worse off for getting one of these things. If it was cash, it probably just, it wouldn't have been as memorable, I guess. So tipping's one thing. They make really amazing gifts. Kids really like Goldbacks. You think Christmas cards. My brother, he lives with my mom, and my wife put all this thought into my nephew's birthday. So we're doing it at grandma's house. My brother's living with grandma. You guys following? And my wife got this is all the kid's favorite stuff, is his favorite candy, is his box. I had a card, and the kid could barely say thank you. He's 6. It's like, thank you, kind of one of those. We probably paid $20 for it. My brother pulls out a Goldback, and it's like the kid had a seizure. He's running around, he's showing everybody, he's showing grandma, his siblings were fighting him for it, and it's just like, it's like 10 out of 10 gift experience for the Goldback. And I think I finally figured out why. So, historically, you go back to ancient times, gold was money for like 6,000 years. And today, like half of it that we mine out of the earth is used in jewelry. And you got to ask yourself why, all right? Like why do people like gold?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Well, it's shiny and pretty, and it's known to be a rare source of metal, right?
Yeah, it's valuable. It's rare, and it's super pretty and kind of unique. There's not a lot of things that look like it, and I think that's why people like it. They get gold rings, they get jewelry. They want to wear it, they want to be part of it. The money that we have nowadays, if you look at euros and stuff, they try to kind of look like gold. Because people they like that shiny, right? Maybe we're like pack rats that way. We like the shiny. If you look at a Goldback, if the gold was any thinner in it, you could start to see through it. So it's the only product out there that I know of where you can actually see all the gold that's yours. And like that full emotional appeal behind gold is captured in a single Goldback, giving the value perception of a Goldback. It seems like it's more valuable than it is. It seems like it should be like a $10 or $20 thing, but really it's like a $4 thing. And I think that's why we're getting the emotional reactions that we are out of it. And I think that lends a lot of emotional credibility to it in terms of why people want to accept it as payment for things. No one's been upset about getting one of these over, $5 as a tip or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like you gave them like your own custom piece of money that's on a different piece of paper. Like, oh, this is John Bucks. This actually has gold in it. Yeah.
My mom did that to me one time though. Like when I spend these, I never tell anyone that I made them, because like that's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
But my mom garage sailing and we're filming because we're finding that 9 out of 10 garage sales would take payment in Goldbacks. It's fun to barter with. It's gold, I mean, they're getting rid of this stuff anyway. So 9 out of 10 garage sales, they're accepting the Goldback, right? I'm with my mom and we just negotiated this big deal. I got this big Lego set from this garage sale, and she runs up to this lady that had sold it to me, and she says, "My son made those." And this lady got this look of horror, like, "What kind of scam is this?" Like, Mom, no, like make it sound like I'm like rolling these out in my garage or something. These are high tech. She embarrassed me so bad. I probably had it coming, but. Karma.
Moms are supposed to embarrass you. That's one of their responsibilities. But So one of the other things I wanted to ask was, I guess at this point, now that that you have the product, are you trying to figure out ways that you could use it as payment as well as gifting and just as storing value? Are you trying to find ways, like are there other like examples like that where you've been able to use it as a form of payment?
Yeah. So and this is kind of coming from a kind of like a libertarian mindset. We thought, hey, if people had gold as an option, we think some people will use it. And I was hoping like 5% of small business owners, kind of like the really hardcore, we need to have a gold and silver money people would be all over accepting the Goldback as payment. We wanted to make it a local currency in Utah. So we went out to these business owners and we're trying to find businesses that would allow us to advertise them as accepting Goldbacks. So it's not just kind of like a barter thing, right? We want to prove the concept out in a big way. And what we found actually surprised me, because again, my goal was like 5%, is that when we made it past the gatekeepers, it was between 30 to 50% of small business owners, in Utah anyway, were willing to take payment in gold. So now we have hundreds of businesses that advertise themselves as preferring to take gold in payment over dollars in Utah.
That's
and,
cool.
we've got like car dealerships, we've got plumbers, electricians, we have a whole chain of hardware stores, grocery stores, you name it. And these are just business owners that said, hey, you know what? Why wouldn't we take gold? What is the dollar down over the last year? You talk about financial literacy. If you buy a bond, and you're getting a 2% return in an environment where inflation's 15%, how are you ever going to get ahead?
Yep.
That's kind of like the value proposition of gold anyway. Well, you buy gold because then you can take a break from inflation. It's like it's an inflation hedge.
Yeah.
The Goldback isn't really that same sales pitch. It's more, if your money is made out of gold, it's a non-inflationary money. So if you're saving for something and you're really saving for it, then it's great to not be losing 15% a year. Imagine you're saving for college or saving up a down payment on a house. You're losing 10, 15% a year. Who can afford that? It's like you have to take crazy risks just to break even nowadays.
So, that's all very true. So I guess another aspect to it is that, if you say you're a long-term investor in gold, you might as well go and buy, larger quantities or like gold bars. But if you actually plan to maybe save this short term and then hope to, maybe make like a down payment in a year or something like that, this might be a better opportunity.
Not necessarily. Gold coins and gold bars, the only thing you can really do with them is you can either die with them or you can sell them back for cash at some point.
Yeah. Podcasting remotely can be challenging, but with Zencastr, the process becomes much easier. Zencastr is an all-in-one web-based solution that makes the process pretty painless and simple. Zencastr allows to bring you guys, our listeners, the best quality by providing crystal clear audio and gorgeous HD video when we record with our guests. Zencastr is also easy to use for new users and guests. So, when we have people on the podcast who haven't used the platform before, we pretty much just tell them to show up with a computer, mic, and headphones, and you're pretty much good to go. Zencastr is pretty plug and play. But from local recording to automated post-production tools, you don't even have to leave the browser to finish off your episode. Use the code zen.ai/blackbox and enter our promo code blackbox. You'll get 30% off the first 3 months of Zencastr Pro. It's time to share your story. Sorry to, I guess, cut off your train of thought, but
no, that's fine. Warren Buffett, he makes the point about gold. He says, if you had all the gold in the world and you could, put it in this giant cube in a football stadium, and you could polish it and you could, make it look really pretty, and sit on it and look at it, but it doesn't really work for you, right? Yeah. It's like this dead asset.
I feel like pretty much the only reason why people have it is to keep, I guess, part of their net worth, or at least some diversified part of it, from losing value due to inflation, right? That's the goal.
That's probably the whole thing.
But so now I'm after we spoke for a little while, I'm getting the better understanding that your product is more being able to utilize that strength of gold, and that it's not just going to be, losing its value and purchasing power over time, except you're looking for a way to actually utilize it itself, like to buy things and not just sit around and look at.
Right. So unlike coins or bars, where the only thing you can do is sell them later and pay capital gains, people that are buying Goldbacks, they're not turning them back into cash. They're spending them as Goldbacks. They're bartering with them. They're settling debts. They're shopping more local, which is kind of the point of, any local currency. And that's a really revolutionary thing, because otherwise the only thing that money is made out of anymore is inflationary fiat currency, right? So we're constantly losing value. Or as an alternative, you can go into, hyper speculative cryptocurrency that's kind of crashing, right? The
Yeah.
casino is not doing too well right now. Or if you want to not have cash savings, you can hop into stocks or bonds or real estate. But all those things, everybody else is fleeing holding dollars too. So you kind of have these frothy, bubbly markets all over the place.
Yep.
The Goldback is more about exploring a long-term solution to having a stable type of money than anything else. I think in 10 years from now, it won't be, Goldback, but it'll be central banks that are taking their gold reserves and issuing money that looks like this. This is what the early piloting of that technology looks like right now.
Understood.
Because what do you want? What do you want your money to be made out of?
Something that's not going to lose value.
Yeah, right now it's made out of garbage. If you took your wallet and you buried it in your backyard and they pull it out in 100 years, everything in your wallet's garbage, and you know it, and everybody knows it. You're losing 10% a year. What's the compound interest on that? What you lose half your value every 7 years if things go well.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Well, I guess one point is that when the US dollar is functioning as intended, it's really only supposed to have 2% inflation per year, or 2 to 4%, whatever they say, which is when things like, stocks, bonds, real estate actually give you some form of return. But when you go into markets like we're in now, where, like you said, inflation's much higher, you're break even or even you're in the red a couple percent.
Yeah, you're losing money.
The purpose of those investments are, no longer as valid.
Well, even 2% inflation can be brutal. I mean, if you go to a bank, and this is, let's say, a year ago before, rates got hiked up, if you went to a bank a year ago, they're going to pay you 0.1% interest.
Yep.
If the goal of inflation of 2 is happening, you're only losing 2% of your money a year.
I mean, I'd rather lose none if I could, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could lose none, or you could put it into stocks or bonds and break even, but you're not getting ahead. I mean, the story I was told as a little kid is you put money in the bank, you got compound interest, which was the greatest force on earth, and pretty soon you're going to be wealthy. But, with inflation, that totally screws up that whole thing. And so what do people do? They take crazy risks. They buy speculative things. Everybody else is running around speculative bubbles because it doesn't make sense to own cash.
Yep.
So again, if you want to get to the root of a lot of these problems, you have to find, I think, alternatives for having a stable currency. And I'd say that Goldback is an experimental currency. I mean, nobody's ever done anything like this before. So far, it's going really well. We've got like 1,000 businesses that are taking this as payment. We've got, we're selling millions of dollars worth every month. By the numbers, it's the most successful local currency in the United States in the last 80 years. Wow. We've got almost 1 million people that own Goldbacks now. Wow. And the vast majority of those, 80%, are young people that have never owned precious metals before.
So this is also an introduction for them into that kind of space and that investment vehicle. But
who's got $2,000 for one coin?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, that might be a fake,
Yeah, understood. Yeah. And so I guess, I mean, obviously the plan's to expand, but are you still only local to your area in Utah right now? Or have you been able to expand to other areas in the state or out of the state?
So there's four different Goldbacks. There's a Utah, a Wyoming, a Nevada, and New Hampshire. Those are all kind of low pop states. Those are the states that have business networks where people can actually spend Goldbacks at businesses that are advertising themselves as accepting them.
Okay.
But I've bartered with Goldbacks at the Saturday market in Oregon, and about every other state, So people can trade with these anywhere simply because they're gold. It's a commodity money. It's not valuable because of the name of the state on it. It's valuable because it's a very easy to use form of gold. You can look up the value on goldback.com. There's a calculator when trading with people. Quickly, what we found out coming out of the Goldback is that over 90% of Utah Goldbacks, that's all we had at the time, were selling outside of Utah. So I thought it'd be like 50-50 kind of thing. It was over 90% left Utah. And I think the reason why is because it's usable anywhere. Now that's statistically significant. If Utah makes up 1% of the population of the country and they're buying 8% of Goldbacks, then they're 8 times more likely to be buying Goldbacks than people in other states, right? Per capita, which is actually huge. I mean, that's statistically significant. But, I mean, right now, Goldbacks, they're being sold on 3 different continents, so the popularity is, it's reaching really, it's reaching a lot further than we thought it would in this time frame.
Was your original plan just to have it be something local and then see where it goes from there?
Kind of, yeah. It was like, hey, let's do a local currency in Utah. Let's make it out of gold. Maybe we can really build it up here. Maybe it'll just stay in Utah. And that's not what anybody else wanted. When are you going to get one in my state? How do we get our own Goldback series? And I tell people it doesn't have to have your state's name on it to use it, but people get really excited when it does. I get letters from people in Wyoming. Oh, we're so excited you chose Wyoming. This is such a great honor for our state. Okay,
That's awesome. I mean, it's got to feel good though to see like something that you built grow to this extent and continue to grow. But also, I just want to backtrack on this from the beginning, just so I understood correctly. You were saying that like the one denomination of Goldback, it's actually worth $4.
It's worth about $4. When they came out, they're worth about $2. I think if you look at the average exchange rate on goldback.com, it's like $3.80 or something like that.
And that's just proportional to the amount of gold that's actually stored in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is proportional amount of gold stored in it. But there is a cost in making these things.
For sure.
If you're going to take an ounce of gold and you're going to split it into 1,000 individual units that have never been counterfeited and contain serial numbers and the weights. It used to be that something like this would have like a 600% to 800% premium over the melt value of the gold.
Okay.
We've been able to, through mass production, get it down to about 100%. But all that utility is there. In fact, when COVID hit, the Goldback was so popular, people were so determined to have some of these to spend that all of our retailers sold out. We sold out. And the only place you could buy any Goldbacks was on eBay for $50.
Really?
Wow.
That is
determines the value of a currency. Is it the issuer or is it the market?
Well, it's the market, but I feel like at first it's the issuer, and it's up to the people at that point to determine how valuable it is to them.
Sure. The dollar, we have inflation not because the government's dictating inflation, it's the market responding to more dollars, right? And it's the same way with the Goldback. What we're seeing right now is a lot of the folks that own gold, or they have it kind of like a just in case money, just in case the dollar fails, just in case the communists invade, just in case the EMP, whatever.
Yeah.
The whatever scenario that sucks, right? They don't want to have these 1 ounce gold coins to barter with because frankly, that's kind of stupid. A 1 ounce gold coin of $2,000. Like what does that transaction even look like?
How do I break this up?
How do you break it up?
Cutting up gold coins.
How do you authenticate it in your just-in-case scenario, right? So those folks, a lot of them are turning in their gold coins, and they're getting giant stacks of Goldbacks because a single Goldback, that's your small trade. That's your cup of coffee, right? This is your micro transaction that you can do peer-to-peer, and it's private. Nobody else knows about it, right? It's not digitally tracked for a time and all eternity.
Yeah.
It's as private as you let it be, and that's also attractive to people.
Okay, I got 2 more questions, Ahmed, then you could follow up with yours after. I guess, how did you go about getting this, legitimized in the state of Utah, or did you have to go to a national level for like a securities type deal? I guess, how did that work?
So all the Goldbacks operate off state law, not federal law. That's very much on purpose. Utah in particular has a law where the state recognizes gold and silver as legal tender at the state level. So because this is 24 karat gold, the state recognizes this as a legal tender item. And the federal government, they basically say, hey, you can't do this unless the state says it's okay. Right? So we got to make sure that we have it okay from every state that we do this in.
Okay.
Now, they could be bartered with outside of those states, but I'm not going to build official merchant networks in those states and make it really easy,
Until
right?
you've been
Until
cleared for
we
that state. Yeah.
until we have it authorized by state law in that state. So that's how that one works. So I don't have the SEC breathing down my neck because this isn't a security.
Yeah.
It's a gold bullion product that also happens to serve as a local currency in some jurisdictions.
Okay. And I guess in the states where it's not necessarily cleared yet, it's then considered more like a bartering thing. Like I
It's
traded
just like
you this
trading
for
with a
this.
gold necklace, man. It's just like trading with a bag of rice. You
Cool.
can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to clarify that for people
No,
listening.
sure. It's a good question.
And the other thing was, I guess in terms of how you can purchase it, is there a way for you to get? I guess you can just buy any quantity of the certain denominations, but is there like a starter pack where you get like a bunch of these kind and then or different denominations?
Every retailer is different. Like I said, there's dozens of retailers. I would recommend if you're going to purchase some, going to goldback.com and looking at the buyer's guide. There are dealers that'll totally scalp you and they'll charge you like $5 or $6 for a one. They should be charging like $350, $360, but they'll scalp you because they can.
Yeah.
Walmart.com. But
Walmart selling those?
Yeah, Walmart sells Goldbacks.
And they'll make their buck off it.
Oh yeah, no, they certainly will. But if you're trying to get them for cheaper than that, I'd recommend going to goldback.com and looking at the buyer's guide. I don't sell them directly. Again, it goes through retailers.
Yeah.
We list a lot of the retailers, the best pricing kind of strategies, so you can get the best possible deal.
Looking out for the good guys.
Yeah.
Nice. And I guess to end this off on like more of a fun note, could you tell us about like the worst experience you've had when trying to barter with a Goldback?
Okay, I've had a lot of bartering interactions with Goldbacks. The weirdest one was where I brought it out and I was trying to get like a knickknack from some lady at a farmer's market, and she acted like I was attacking her with a snake. She was like, oh, like she couldn't believe, like she just wanted nothing to do it. She was scared of it. She didn't trust it. It's like I pulled out some sort of future space weapon on her,
Pulled out a Call of Duty Zombies ray gun.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm sorry. I had another guy that was like this old guy, and he's like, talking to him. He's kind of this anti-government type, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is
for him, yeah.
This guy's totally going to take the gold back. And I pulled one out, and he's like, what if the government gets you for trying to use gold? Like, what if? Well, I mean, they probably can't. I mean, gold's a thing, you want to take it? No, it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. What do you mean it's too dangerous? Like, what are you scared of? They're going to come in their helicopter? We saw that you accepted gold. Just...
Yeah. No.
I mean, I've had some weird ones. I mean, people tend to like them. If you're going to spend them at a small business, my recommendation is to talk to the decision maker, not the person the decision maker hired to run the till or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm always going to say no. I mean, it's not their risk to take. If it's their business, like I said, I mean, even outside of Utah, quarter of the time they're going to take gold. Now, one reason to do that is, and this is kind of a fun thing, the rate we publish on goldback.com is an average price for Goldback, right? Because some people charge a lot, some people don't charge a lot. So we post an average price as a kind of a recommended trading price. If you're really clever and you buy Goldbacks at one of the top 3 retailers, you're getting them for like $350, $360, but that average price is $380. And if that's the price that you're actually trading them at, you're getting a discount every time someone accepts a Goldback. So like this merchant network here in Utah, like I'll go to the hardware store and get like 10% off everything at the hardware store because I used Goldbacks. It's like getting 2% cash back on your credit card, but it's more like 10% cash back when you're bartering with these things. And that's true everywhere you are. So I've got them in a wallet. I carry them around all the time. I've probably restocked this wallet every month. I can't believe how many opportunities there are to actually spend these things. And if they're on me, then I can. So it actually saves me money having Goldbacks. And again, I get to, get all the attention of having something that's cool and novel, and I get to explain it. So it's really fun as far as that goes. And I think that's part of why Goldbacks have been so popular, is because people are actually spending these things and showing each other. In fact, I've spent under $100,000 on marketing and advertising in the last 3 years, and we've been virtually sold out of Goldbacks this entire time. I can't
Wow.
make them fast enough. I
Yeah.
physically can't produce Goldbacks fast enough to meet market demand. So,
That's a
you know,
good problem to have.
it's a great problem to have. I mean, and I guess that's the downside of Goldbacks versus cryptocurrency. The market cap for Bitcoin could go up $1 billion overnight.
They could just make, yeah, it's just
Well, it's just
produce.
the price of individual units go up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, I guess
Um,
you determine that supply from the time you launch it. Yeah.
but Goldbacks, we have to actually make all these things, right? So that's a limitation that we run into. But so far it's going really well. It's been a really successful company. It's far out exceeded what I thought would happen within 3 years, and I think people are resonating with this idea that it's nice to have a money that's not losing money,
As it's just
it's
sitting
not
in your
leaking
wallet. Yeah.
value.
That definitely makes sense. And I
Agreed. Agreed.
congratulations, Jeremy. Honestly, that's seems like things are going really well, and I wish you like all the best moving forward. And I like the purpose behind it and everything like that.
Well, cool. I appreciate that. I
Um,
appreciate that.
Ahmed, did you have any other questions? Otherwise, I feel like this would be a perfect time to just wrap things up and put a little bow on it.
Sure.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jeremy, for telling us about, I mean, the technology that goes into this, and then everything that went into like getting this, like getting people to use it. I'm sure was all a challenge, and it, like, hearing about the story was really interesting.
There's a
Everyone,
credibility ladder, right? Every currency out there is backed by trust.
yeah,
So you got to build that credibility over time, and that's just kind of the track that we're on right now.
for sure, for sure. And
Awesome.
to everyone listening, you knew where to find us at Black Box Podcast, no A in the black. Um, Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks, Jeremy. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Have a good one.